Okay, let's dive right in. We are tackling the big one today. Paper 2, Question 5. You know, the transactional writing task. It's the final hurdle in your English language GCSE, and it's worth a massive 40 marks. Honestly, mastering this is an absolute game changer for your final grade.
So, does this sound familiar to you? You've poured everything you've got into your answer. Your points are sharp, your vocabulary is on point, but when you get that feedback, you're just not quite breaking into those top bands, the grade 8 or 9 territory. It's a super common and super frustrating place to be.
You've basically hit what I like to call the level 3 wall. It's this point where writing that is perfectly clear and generally effective just gets stuck. The secret to smashing through it isn't just about what you say, but it's fundamentally about how you say it.
Now, the key to unlocking those top marks, it all lies in getting your head around Assessment Objective 5, or AO5. And we're going to break it down with a really simple, memorable tool I want you to remember, FAP. Trust me, this little acronym is going to become your best friend for tackling any Question 5 prompt they throw at you.
So, let's look at the official wording from the exam board, because it's really telling. Check out those key words, selecting and adapting. It's not about having one single good style of writing. Not at all. It's about being a chameleon, being able to change your tone, your style, and your register to perfectly fit different forms, purposes, and audiences. That's the real skill they're looking for.
So how do you actually do this when you're in an exam and the clock is ticking? Simple. You remember FAP, form, audience, and purpose. This is your pre-writing checklist. You absolutely must think about the form you're asked to write in, the audience you're writing for, and the purpose you're trying to achieve, whether it's to argue or persuade or advise. Planning for all three is completely non-negotiable.
All right, let's break that down, starting with the F for form. Think of the form as the set of rules for the game you're about to play. A letter, a speech, and an article are just not the same thing, and the examiner is specifically looking to see if you get that difference.
And this slide just illustrates the point perfectly. For a speech, right, you've got a live audience to engage. So you'd use things like direct address, friends, colleagues, members of the council, and of course rhetorical questions. For an article, you need a snappy headline, maybe some subheadings to guide the reader. A formal letter? Well, that has some very specific layout rules you just can't ignore. Getting these wrong is kind of like showing up to a football match in a swimming costume. It just signals you completely misunderstand the context.
And look, the exam isn't trying to trick you. Check out this real question from a past paper. It straight up tells you to write a speech. That one word, that's your blueprint. It dictates all the structural and stylistic choices you need to make from the get-go.
Okay, next up in FAP is A, audience. So if form sets the rules of the game, then audience tells you how you need to play it to win. Seriously, understanding who you are writing for is the master key that unlocks the correct tone, style, and register for your piece. Here's another real prompt. Notice the audience isn't just an adult or a reader. It is specifically the Minister for Education. That little detail isn't just flavor text. It is a direct instruction on how formal, how respectful, and how persuasive your writing needs to be.
Let me put it this way. Choosing your register is like choosing an outfit. If you were invited to a fancy dinner with a government minister, you wouldn't rock up in ripped jeans and start using slang, would you? Your writing needs to be dressed for the occasion, and the audience tells you exactly what that occasion is.
And this just shows the massive difference it makes. Writing to the minister, your language is formal, your sentences are complex, your tone is super respectful. Writing for your school magazine, you can be way more direct, more relatable, maybe even crack a joke. It could be the same topic, but a completely different execution, all because the audience changed. Okay, so you've nailed the form, you've nailed the audience. Now for the fun part, how do you add that grade 9 polish? How do we get your writing from just clear to convincing and assured? Let's get into the specifics. This table is taken straight from the mark scheme, and the language shift is everything. Level 3 says your tone, style, and register are generally matched, but to get to level 4, they have to be convincingly matched. Your communication moves from being clear to being convincing. That word, convincing, is the whole game. It means your choices feel deliberate, sophisticated, and you keep it up through the entire piece.
So how do you become convincing? Well, you upgrade your toolkit, and that means two things. First, using sophisticated discourse markers. A level 3 response might say, we need to protect the environment and it's a big problem. A level 4 response elevates that to, consequently, failing to address this escalating environmental crisis places our collective future in jeopardy. You feel that difference? Second, deploying powerful rhetorical devices. Don't just ask a rhetorical question. Try using hyporphora. That's when you ask a question and then immediately answer it yourself. It's an amazing way to control the narrative and guide your reader's thinking. These are the tools that give your writing that assured, masterful quality.
All right, let's pull all of this together. What is the one crucial takeaway that is going to completely transform your approach to question 5?
It all comes down to this single word: adaptation. The top marks don't go to the student with the best generic argument. No way. They go to the student who can best adapt their form, their language, and their tone to the specific task they've been given. You have to be a chameleon.
So from now on, I want you to completely reframe how you start. The first question in your head should not be, what do I write? It has to be, who am I writing for? In what form? And for what purpose? Answering those questions with real precision, before you write a single word of your actual argument, is the most important step you can take to smash through that wall and secure a grade 9.